بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We're waiting inshallah the attendance of some brothers and sisters. Hopefully we will start the session soon. Assalamu alaikum brother Arif and Ahmad.
Assalamu alaikum Dr. Wa alaikum salam brother Arif.
Wa alaikum salam.
Today inshallah is going to be the last lesson, and probably we'll do some revision to what we have already mentioned in summary, and then the second part we'll see if you have any questions, then we'll try to answer it. So here, after he negated all the things said by the deviated group like Qadariya, Mu'tazila, and Jahmiya, and Haruriya, there's a lot of a group at his time. A lot of group at his time, so he was negating them, and then he started telling his side of the Aqidah, and he did say here that he is actually listing the Aqidah of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So here he did say here that it's the Aqidah of Abdullah Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Hanbal. So it has some implication now, because the Wahhabi claim to follow Ahmad ibn Hanbal, but they actually follow Ibn Taymiyyah. And Ibn Taymiyyah, as I said before, there's quite a difference of understanding to Allah Azza wa Jal and descriptions of Allah. And he praised Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and he said he's the Imam al-Fadil, great Imam, and great leader, or complete leader. So I'm trying to get rid of the I'm trying to get rid of the writing. Where is the Quran? Should be able to.
Which writing are you trying to get rid of?
I'm unable to move the things anymore. Yeah, I was able. Now it's okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is what he said, and then in 25. He's saying that we do submit that we believe in Allah, His angels, His books, His messenger, and all what's brought from Allah Azza wa Jal, and all what have been narrated from the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and we don't reject any of it. We believe no God but Allah, and He is one and Samad, stand by His own, and He never had any companion or son, and that Muhammad Abduhu wa Rasuluh, His servant and His messenger, and He sent him with the righteous religion and the true religion, and believe that Jannah and Nar are true, and that the day of judgment is happening, and Allah will bring back, resurrect people from their graves. And we believe that Allah Azza wa Jal istawa ala al-arsh, He is dominating the throne, the way He meant it, and with the meaning He considered. And His istiwa, dominating the arsh, is purified from mumarasa, acting on, sitting on, controlling on, dissolving on, and moving from and to. So he's believing this, what we're discussing, that Allah Azza wa Jal istawa ala al-arsh, established Himself on the throne without any actions, without any settling, without any controlling, getting control of the arsh or something, without dissolving in the arsh, without moving from the arsh to somewhere else, which obviously he's taking out of the mind of people, putting Allah Azza wa Jal in a body and moving from A to B to C, because that will be the universe bigger than Allah Azza wa Jal. And that's not the Aqidah. We always say Allahu Akbar. So, and he's not carried by the throne, and those who carry the throne, they are actually carried themselves by the throne. And Allah Azza wa Jal is above the throne, and there's no limit to Allah Azza wa Jal. He's not contained in any space, place, or time. And he has the highest status at Allah Azza wa Jal, and beyond linking him to the Thuriya or Thara. You don't bring down Allah Azza wa Jal to the earth, don't link him to the stars and galaxies and things. So Allah Azza wa Jal, beyond being considered a body and linked to where he is as a body. So that's the difference between us and the Wahhabi. The Wahhabi are the main people who argue. The Shia, they have many things which is already wrong, because they wrong the Quran in many places, and that obviously whoever wrong the Quran will go out of Islam. The thing is that people do not discuss with the Shia the Aqidah. They discuss with them the Khilafah, whether Abu Bakr should have been the first Khalifa or Ali, and whether Muawiyah right or Ali right. But in fact, if you discuss with them Aqidah, then you expose them, how far they are from Islam. So the message of Islam is the Aqidah, the essence of belief. If the essence is wrong, everything is going to be wrong. If the essence is correct, everything is going to be correct. So when the Aqidah is shaky, then the whole application of Sharia will be irrelevant. And also he's saying here that Allah has a face without imagining how or giving in any descriptions to it. So you can't, like the Christian, they put Allah Azza wa Jal in an old man with a beard and face like a human. And they took that from a say to Jesus, which also Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said it. خلق الله آدم على صورته. In Christianity, they say God created man in his own image. And own, they misinterpret. They think own means Allah's image, while it's the image created on instantly. So Adam was created instantly as he looked 30 years old. While his children grown, we become sperm and fertilized egg and leash and start developing from picture to picture. And then our shape changes in the womb of the mother. And then we're born as children. And then again, our feature changes until we settle on an image by the age of 30, settle down for a while. And then we start changing again at old age. Allah created Adam as he looked when he was 30 years old, without any changes he went through at the beginning. Adam would have stayed as he was if he didn't eat from the tree. So this is why when we go back to Jannah, we'll be all at the age of 30, and we will all be as beautiful as Yusuf and as smart as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and as tall as Adam when he was created, 30 feet tall. So also we went through, we shrank as well in size. So, and then again he said, Allah ta'ala yadayn bila kayf, he has hands without telling how, without giving them any impression. And I said yesterday, there's the three things: tafsir, the meaning; ta'wil, metaphoric meaning; and tafweed, leaving it to Allah to tell what he meant by what he said. So we don't give it any tafsir or ta'wil. And we do that when Allah talks about his face, his hands, and his eyes, and and his speech and his hearing. And that Allah Azza wa Jal have knowledge, and He's aware of everything happen. Whatever comes down come with His agreement, and the knowledge comes from Allah Azza wa Jal to us, came through inside the Quran and our previous messages. And also His knowledge include knowing everything happened in His creation, in His universe, and confirm that Allah Azza wa Jal has sama', hearing and seeing, but we don't at all interpret how, and we don't give him an organ. Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't rely on organs, like doesn't rely on parts. You can't say Allah has liver or kidney or heart or blood or eyes, like eyes, or not like ours. Allah says He has eyes, but we don't give Him organs like us because He will be dependent on an organ. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is Ahad. He doesn't depend on any organs. Otherwise, you make Allah Azza wa Jalla in need for the use of arms and legs. And like we have to have legs to move from A to B. We have to have arms to do things with it. We have to have eyes to see things. And then our brain process what we see. That's not applied to Allah Azza wa Jalla. It doesn't rely on organs. وَنُثْبِتْ أَنَّ اللَّهَ قُوَّةٌ, and He has power. And Allah Azza wa Jalla dominates with His power everything He created. And we say that the Kalamullah is not created. And I said before, there's Kalam and Kalam and Qawl. Kalam is this one, this word here, Kalam. And Qawl. Qawl means the language used to express the Kalam. The Kalam is His words. What He said, and what is in your mind is your words in your mind, expressed in a language, in a qawl. And the qawl could differ from time to time. He expressed his kalam in Hebrew to the Jew, in Sanskrit to people before, and whatever other languages, and then in Arabic. So qawl is a fresh use of a language which is used by human. So Allah sent with His, He sent His message in a language of the people who can understand it, or in their mother tongue, in their tongue. I'll bring the ayah in the Quran. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُمْ. So Allah Azza wa Jalla sent every messenger using tongue, the mother tongue or the language of His people. I'll bring it to you. لِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ. لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُمْ. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُمْ. I just changed the share to bring the Quran. So this is the ayah. We haven't sent the messenger, but with the mother tongue, with the tongue of His people. So He could explain to them in the language of His own people. So the language, the qawl, change. So those who have difficulty accepting the Quran as the words of Allah Azza wa Jal expressed in Arabic, they didn't split between the qawl and the way it's being expressed, the kalam, and the way it's being expressed in the qawl. And that's explained even lately by Sheikh Ibrahim Abdul Ba'ith. He's Egyptian from Alexandria, the top hadith narrator in Egypt. And he managed to split that, to bring it easier to us to understand, splitting the kalam from the qawl. So this is was, as I said before, was a problematic for a while, the time of Harun Rashid. And then the Harun Rashid forced everybody to believe the Quran was created to avoid the claim of Christian that Jesus is the word of Allah and is eternal like Allah. So he said, no, the Quran has been created to stop the Christian playing the trick on the Muslims. So, so this is what he said, qawl. And we believe that إنما قولنا إذا لشيء إذا أردناه أن نقول له كن فيكون. An action of Allah is just words. He say be and it is. It's not like us. We need the raw materials to make things. Allah Azza wa Jalla is the creator of the raw materials, and that's what made scientists have difficulty have difficulty where the universe came from, because they obviously the brain cannot understand, cannot accept that things come from nothing. But then their research showed that at one single point of time there was singularity, there were nothing at all, and then the universe just suddenly appeared. I have difficulty accepting that Allah brings things from nothing. Allah Azza wa Jalla has godly appearance, the ability to create. So the answer always Allah used when the people ask about who is your God, he instructed Ibrahim alayhi salam to say that I believed in the Lord who created this universe, الذي فطرهن, brought from nothing. So that one who brought this universe, this is my God, and I believe in him. And Allah Azza wa Jalla said, نما أمره, his order, إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. His order is just word, be and it appears. And Allah Azza wa Jalla make things appear and make things disappear. And that's the main essence of the belief, the main core of the belief. Believe in Allah Azza wa Jalla creating from nothing. How Allah does that? Because Allah is God and He is the founder of us. And He said, this is what I do. Now, when you go to see a doctor, you don't ask about how he acquired the knowledge and how he discovered medicines, how he knew the disease, and you don't question him. You just go to him and he said, this is your treatment. You take prescription, you go to the chemist, collect the drug and go home. So questions beyond your ability to understand, don't ask. And that's exactly the same in the religion. If you can't understand how the sun is, started and how the universe kept going on and things, how can we accept to question Allah Azza wa Jal, which is obviously is not going to happen. So this is what he's saying, and no good or bad happen on earth but by a permission from Allah Azza wa Jal, accepted. So the good and the bad permitted by Allah Azza wa Jal, but Allah Azza wa Jal always showed us that the bad is actually good if you look into it. Like if you fail the school, medical school, and you don't graduate to become a doctor, is it good or bad? It's good. It's good for you, because if you go and practice and kill somebody, you end in prison. It's good for the patients because they are safe from your mischief. The actual failing is bad, but it's actually good. So if you look into most evils, like, even now the coronavirus, every day we discover something really important. Like they build all these big cities on traveling easily from A to B. Now they have to employ so many people to patrol the stations, that only people in the stations who are traveling are there. So you don't have people go and sleep in the underground stations. You don't have people wandering around. And that will reduce the number of troublemakers, the number of thieves, the number of criminals. Will employ more people in the underground buses, and probably have you change the way you work, you probably get rid of all these jobs which are not productive jobs. The tourist industry is not, yeah, you go and buy things, but can you live without going on holiday? Yes, you can't. So why you created the holiday? Created a lot of extra burden on environment. And so we don't know. There will be a lot of goodness coming out of the virus. It is a plague, it is a disaster, it is a big, what appear harm. But then you will find that no, Allah did make things like yesterday. They said this is the cleanest, the highest reduction of CO2 seen for the last 40 years or something. The reduction of CO2 pollution is so low. There were no pollution the last 2 months. So we don't know, I mean, what's the goodness coming out of it. And this is what he's saying here, that this is our belief, that yes, Allah permit the good and the bad, but in fact, the bad is a good, if you look at it from a different angle. And
So
no one
something
can,
that's,
sorry?
yeah, it's just like something that's good for me, not so good for you. You know, everything has equal and opposite.
Yeah, but it's good for you, it's not good for me, but also could be good for me as well.
Yeah.
The way you interpret, like, you know, I went to an interview in North Wales when I took the job. There were 2 jobs on offer. There were very few jobs at that time for that level. There were one in Bristol and one in North Wales in Bangor. So the fact that there were 18 applied for the 2 jobs, 17 went to Bristol and one, who was me, went to North Wales. So I was the only candidate. And it's good for me, they all went there, but I don't know them to say about them whether it's good or bad what they have done. But you might go and find out, yes, probably it's good for each one of them in a way to suit his own needs or to protect others. Because if he goes and make mistakes, he will end in prison. It's bad for him. So it's good that he didn't take the job. So you look into, the thing is that as last night I was talking in a reminder that Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he was traveling and he saw a horse rider came, drank from the river and unloaded his horse and let the horse rest, and then put the saddle on the horse and left, and went and left behind a bag of gold. He forgot to pick it up. And half an hour later, a shepherd came and used the water for himself and his sheep, and he found the gold, took the gold, put it on his donkey and left. And half an hour later, an old man came and had a rest and drank from the water and things. And while there, the horse rider came, searched for the gold, and didn't find it. He accused the old man of stealing the gold, and he killed him. So Musa was watching and saw all these events. So he questioned, they asked Allah Azza wa Jalla, how is that? Allah Azza wa Jalla said, because the old man didn't take the gold and he got killed. He said, don't see what happened now. He said, the old man, when he was young, he killed the father of the horse rider. So the horse rider came and took revenge for his father, unknowingly. Knowingly, he took revenge that deserved to be killed, and he was killed. So what about this shepherd who got away with the gold? He said, the horse rider stole the gold from the father of the shepherd, and the shepherd came and took his money back, his inheritance. And Allah said to Musa, وَأَنَا الْحَكَمُ الْعَدِلُ, I am the just ruler, the just judge. So we don't know. I mean, Surah Al-Kahf also told us how Musa damaged the sheep, and he killed, Al-Khudr damaged the sheep and killed the young boy, and mended a wall. And Musa, one of the great prophets, he couldn't understand that, and he objected why this happened. And when it was explained to him, it was the right decision. It's good for nearly everybody. It's good for the owners of the boats. It's good for the young boy who went to Jannah. His family is good for his family. the mending the wall was good for the owners of the wall, and good for the villagers because they didn't steal the money of the orphans. And so you will, when it's explained to you, it will appear to us good in every aspect. So this is the way he's saying here, and that 37. لا خالق إلا الله وَالنَّعْمَةُ الْبَيْضَاءُ مَخْلُوقًا, that Allah is the creator and He created our deeds, the ability to do deeds, whether it's good or bad. But Allah made us possible. He made these things possible to do. وَاللَّهُ خَلَقَكُمْ وَمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. Allah said that He created you and what you do. He didn't create us able to fly. He didn't create us able to dive without oxygen. He didn't make us able to eat earth. I wrote an article that there's an article will appear tomorrow, but there's an article I wrote 6 weeks ago that the weakest of the creatures are man, because animals go and drink from stinky water and they eat all sorts of things. They eat it with its feather and then its bones and its intestine, and they don't get diarrhea, they don't get sick, they don't get, they don't die. We have to purify the water before we eat it, before we drink it. If we drink the water contaminated, we'll end either dying or have diseases or infection. So we are the weakest of the whole of the lot. The snails, when it is hot weather, they produce some mucus, surround themselves with mucus and hibernate. When it is cold weather, they do the same. So they have mechanism to avoid the hot and the cold. And they could hibernate. The frog, they said, the green frog hibernate for the whole of the winter, 4 months, no food, no drink. And we can't do that. So this is what Allah has created us with a lot of limitation. And the people cannot create, man cannot create.
But he compensated us with intellect, brain.
If we use it, yeah. Because if you look into the third world countries, I mean, look into Bangladesh. I always, since I was a young boy, I heard Bangladesh flooding, and so many killed, and they still haven't used their brain to protect themselves from. I look into San Francisco, they had few earthquakes, destroyed their houses. Now they build all their buildings is earthquake proof. It's just shake right and left and stay where it is. But they done it. Why didn't you go and learn what they've done and come back and apply? Oh, we haven't got money. Why you haven't got the money? Oh, because we haven't got this, we haven't got that. You end like a series of things they haven't done. So they will carry on being exposed to the elements and they will be suffering because of it. I was saying to my wife, probably those who will be harmed much less are the Syrians from the coronavirus, because the Syrians, if the industry gone, there's no industry anyway. So there's nothing to lose from the recession or depression. They haven't got any mortgages. They all either live in their houses or rented houses or in tent and things. If they don't have the wage, they can still stay in the house because they don't have a mortgage. And they don't go anywhere on holidays. So they didn't bring much virus to Syria. So this is why there's very few who died because of the coronavirus. They don't go to China or Europe or anywhere. We don't get any tourists in Syria because they're afraid of the war. There's no tourists. It's bad for other people. It turned out to be good for many of other countries, so we don't know. This is obviously probably this virus targeting certain groups, certain people. And now the highest spread of the virus, I think you heard the news, it's in America, in Russia, in Brazil, and in Saudi. Why Saudi Arabia? Why there's so much spread of the virus in Saudi? What I've done? So we don't know. I mean, Allah is aware of what He created, and He's aware of their brains and what they're thinking and who deserve what. So He's saying here that Allah Azza wa Jal, if you believe in Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah will help you to obey and worship Him. if somebody doesn't believe in Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah Azza wa Jal will not guide him. So it has to be, first step has to be from man. He has to make the first step towards Allah Azza wa Jal, and Allah top it up. So we're running out of time. I'll stop here. If you have any questions to ask me, there's more to talk about, but ask me questions.
After the lockdown, Dr. Ghanem, what we'll do, we'll take this book of Aqidah, the 521 pages, and we'll condense it and write our smaller book. We'll get an ISBN number and we publish our own version.
Yeah, I'm thinking of getting somebody to type all these
So
sessions, and that will be in a book.
Yeah, so I can help you to get an ISBN number, and you can use your knowledge of Islam and Arabic, and I can use my knowledge of English and get some other people, and we write a small book, and then we can publish it. You know, if it's written well.
All of it is actually recorded and kept on YouTube and Facebook. All these sessions is already recorded. So we'll employ somebody to listen to it and type it. Once we typed it, then we will go through it from the English point of view, from the religious point of view, and reduce repetition, and probably ask a couple of scholars to review the book, some scholars, and then we could get ISBN number and publish it. This is, if anything I was pleased with is that I managed to go through the whole Aqidah as recorded, because I tried to write a book. It wasn't easy. I prefer to speak and somebody write instead of me writing. So that's what you're saying is probably what we will do. We'll ask, there's many people now who will do the writing for small charge. My son's using them. They're using services. And I will probably use this service to print it, all of it. They will print it on.
Yes, so the writing bit it's about moving things around, putting ideas, shifting it, narrowing it down, revising it. So do you remember when you asked me to write this article on climate change? The first one of the first draft, it was about very long, about 3 pages. And I'm thinking, you can't do that. Then he revised, then you try to relate things in a logical sequence that makes it readable and interesting. And so you take bits from here, and you think, no, this bit doesn't go in here. So you have to go through several repetition of it. And you are right, you have to get people to read it and put into a logical order that it flows like a story and it makes sense. And then you have to, so inshallah, we can do that ourselves. You don't have to.
So that's the aim, inshallah. That's also the reminders in the evening. I'm thinking of writing, because the meaning of the names of Allah Azza wa Jal, I wish, I could finish all of them, but there's so many, because are not spoken about. There's the names, the 99 names, there's books about it, but the rest of the names, so Allah Azza wa Jal is not actually in a book in a way. I don't know, I haven't searched, but I don't think they're heard of as well. Also, on zakah, that session on zakah, I don't know whether we need a second one. I'm going to do one on Saturday on zakah as well, explain in plain English what it is. But that's the aim, inshallah. Any more questions? Do you have anything, Brother Arif, to ask?
No, alhamdulillah, no. Jazakallah khair for all your...
So inshallah, we'll publish that. We'll print it and publish it, because what happened now, because the Saudi had a lot of money, there's a lot of books written on Aqidah Wasitiyah, the Aqidah which is Ibn Taymiyyah wrote, and that's created a lot of misunderstanding to Allah Azza wa Jal and mispracticing, or subhanAllah, the adherent to the Sharia became very poor. You put Allah Azza wa Jal far away, you don't feel Allah Azza wa Jal watching you. It'll be difficult, because you're thinking he's above the throne and he's not coming down. You're going down only the third part of the night, which is, it's more to bring to our mind that Allah is too close to us, and He will be closer in certain time if you are awake. He will be closer to you if you are awake doing Fajr than when you are not awake, sleep. So as a reward for you waking up in Fajr and praying, that Allah will answer your request to forgive you, to help you, to give you sustenance. There were a few points which we went through during the course, which is a rizq, where rizq come, and are you allocated a certain rizq or not, and how will you get it, and al-ajal, your lifespan, and being guided by Allah Azza wa Jal, and tribulation hitting you or not. And we always forget to remember that is conditions to every one of these. Conditions to give you the rizq is that you go and search for it. Condition to expand your lifespan is to do certain action, like being good to your relatives and visiting them and checking on them and helping them. Condition to be guided by Allah is not to be unjust, not to be aggressive, not to be liar, not to be arrogant. So everything is conditions. People forget the conditions. Oh, Allah is not guiding me, but there's conditions. Stop being aggressive, stop being unjust, stop being arrogant. And the same musibah, tribulation come to you because you didn't do 1, 2, 3. So to protect you, Allah caused the musibah, like failure in the medical school, like having an illness, like having loss of job. You better leave the job than go to prison. So this is sometimes, people forget that there is conditions attached, and they think they should instantly get from Allah Azza wa Jalla. No, there's a law. There's a law. And then we went through the qadar, and qadar is a measure. Measure could be increased or decreased. Qadar is a law, and you need to use another law against it. And qadar, which is the plan of Allah, you're not going to change the plan of Allah. If Allah has a plan, He has a plan. You have to accept. You do your part and leave Allah Azza wa Jalla to do His part. And when Allah plans for you something, definitely if you close to Him, will be for your best benefit. If He is an enemy to Allah Azza wa Jalla, then the plan for Allah Azza wa Jalla to expose him and cause trouble to him. So I don't know. I mean, we're all waiting to see what's the end of Donald Trump is going to be, because he's so much done, and so many people are angry with him. They don't actually, the West leaders, they don't comment at all on whatever he says anymore. They were caught laughing at him in one of these G7 meetings, or G8. Remember when Canadian made comment on him? He didn't like it, so they stopped commenting.
He lashes out. There's an interesting story. There was a very well-known politician in he served in Margaret Thatcher's government.
Yeah,
I think his name was Jonathan Atkins. He was very well respected, and then he got done for perjury, telling lies, and then he was sent to prison. He was a very well-spoken, very well-known figure. He was found guilty for perjury, sent to prison, and in the prison, because he was a very intelligent guy, he decided to embark on a study of theology. So he studied theology for 3 years, and I think he was qualified as a minister. And when he came out, the reporter asked him, "So what's your plan now, Jonathan? What's your plan going forward?" And he paused and then looked at the reporter and he says, "I have no plan. God laughs at people who make plans."
Yeah. So there were a minister with Margaret Thatcher also who went.
He was a minister with Margaret Thatcher. Yeah.
There's another one who went to prison, and because he lied, he managed to get £500,000 from the Sun newspaper or the Mirror, and he was lying that he was staying with his friend. And then when he applied to become the mayor of London, his friend exposed him. I can't remember his name now. And then he said, no, he wasn't staying with me, he was lying. And then they both went to court, and he ended in prison. And in prison, he wrote a book as well, and he sold it. Amazing. So we'll finish. There's only 1 minute left. We'll finish the course now. We'll just, inshallah, the plan is to publish it if we can, print it, and.
I mean, personally for me, This is very interesting, and it does answer a lot of the questions. Although you may know the question, but you've forgotten.
Yeah, you need a book to go and
book to go and easy to follow. Like you were saying, if you listen to the hardcore stuff, it's very difficult to understand. In fact,